So I'm about a year and a half into my career. And usually, I guess historically, if you look back at my career progression, around this time is where I make a move, either in roles, in companies, or in both. Now, I know I want to stick to Microsoft, so I don't want to switch companies. So 50% of that decision has been made. So now my focus has been more so around, okay, what's my next move? I made the mistake of sort of universally targeting the solution architect role. And I even tweeted this out. I'll add a screenshot here. Like I'm focusing on solution architect, or I'm targeting solution architect after my time in advocacy. Got a couple of replies, and one really stuck out to me and really helped me understand sort of the, I guess, mistakes or confusion that I have around sort of blatantly just saying like, oh, target solution architect. I also posted this on Instagram, and I got another reply, which also gave me good insight into this too. And I want to kind of share this because I feel like oftentimes beginners or people who are trying to make moves into the space or move up in the space, we tend to fixate on roles. Like DevOps engineer is the same everywhere, cloud engineer is the same everywhere, solution architect is the same everywhere. And in reality, that's not the truth. And given that I have a couple of years in the field, I still got bamboozled. Well, I'm pretty sure that could happen to anyone. So kind of just wanted to share my insight here. Now, the first reply that stuck out to me was by Linda Nichols. Linda Nichols is someone that I have a lot of respect for. She started her career in help desk, wrote the help desk ticketing system software. That's how she learned how to code. Later went on to get a computer science degree. Was one of the first women in serverless back in like the early 2010s. And someone who works as a global black belt in Microsoft, meaning has a great level of knowledge in a technological category, and then goes and implements solutions and helps build out solutions with customers in that space. And I even have a full interview with her, so check it out. Just overall someone that I've known about for a couple of years, and someone who also has insight into the work that I do, into the things that I enjoy, and could potentially give like some good advice, given that she has context about me. We had a conversation after she replied to my tweet saying like, hey, I have some thoughts, let's talk about this. We had a conversation, and overall she just gave me a better feel of like, a view of how the solution architect could be different based on teams, based on organizations, based on companies. And there are some solution architect roles that are very sales-based, very pre-sales based, very quota-based, which is something I don't have any interest in. And there are some that are really focused on implementing, which is something that I do have interest in. But more so just saying like, hey, I want to be a solution architect might not be the best way to get into things because you're really kind of just not preparing for anything specific. And when you want to go target your next role, you really do have to be specific because you got to know what to upskill in. So I really appreciated her insight and her advice and her mentorship on that. And it's just a good example of how having, the right people around you give you some good advice and good firsthand knowledge through experience can make an impact on you. So thank you, Linda. The next person that reached out to me was someone who is actually a senior cloud solution architect at Microsoft with years of experience. They didn't reply publicly, so I won't disclose any of that information, of course. But we ended up having a conversation. We had a conversation when I first started at Microsoft. And after that, we ended up having a conversation after this reply to my Instagram story. And more so, this person just gave me insight into what they do as a solution architect. And I thought this was so cool. This is exactly what I want to do. And this was obviously a different team. And what they end up doing is doing customer engagements for a certain amount of time, a couple of weeks or something like that. You onboard, you learn the tech stack, you use that tech stack that the customer uses to implement the solution, and then you go on, we offboard, you do documentation, and you go on to your next customer engagement. And that next customer engagement could be a completely different tech stack. Now, what I love about advocacy, which is the space that I'm currently in, is just the dynamic nature of it. You could be working on something for a month, 2 months, and the following months, it could be something completely different. I like trying new things. Given that the cloud space has so many different fields, I just really like getting a little bit of a taste of all the areas. And I truly do believe that if I was in a role where I had to do the same, like use the same stuff for like a really long time, work on the same thing for a really long time, it's just not somewhere where I could shine. Which is why I do like the nature of architecture in general, because you're going to go build out things that are different solutions for different customers, which is something that I feel like I really want to do. So after getting the insight with this second colleague, more so on how how their team works, and how there's time to upskill, to learn the tech stack, how you really rely on your team, you're a team player, because someone might be an expert in something, you might be the expert in a different area. I think that's really cool. So then I got a feel for what that looks like, which I think was very, very useful. Long story short, and the advice that I have here is reverse engineer it, right? Just because you want to be in a specific role, it doesn't mean that you're going to have to learn the exact same thing for that role at every single company. Yeah, there might be some overlap in general knowledge, but overall, there might be something a little bit different that you have to learn. So be sure to grab the job description, reverse engineer that too. One thing I wanted to add here is this is something that Lou from Open Up the Cloud brought up in one of the videos that he did a couple of months ago, and I'll link that in the description, is there's one of the most popular certifications to get into cloud is the AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate. And I feel like a lot of people who get into the space via that certification, or sort of that's their introduction to learning cloud, or sort of, the first step that they take into trying to figure out what they want to do, is they think that because solution architect is in the name of the certification, that that's the role that they have to target. And also they feel like what they're studying in that role is what they're exactly going to end up doing. And that's just not the truth, right? So again, reverse engineer the role, grab the job description, and then pay attention to what you're actually going to work on versus the title itself. I need to take my own advice, long story short. All right, anyway, let me know. Are you a solution architect? What do you do day to day? Is sales a very big part of your role? Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what kind of roles you're targeting. I would love to know people's career progressions. I'm still very much trying to figure out what the next thing for me is. I think what is different this time around than other times where I've been trying to figure out my next role is I'm very happy in my current role. I'm still very much challenged. I'm compensated fairly. I have a great team, a great manager. So there's not like a lot of pressure as to like, it's not that I'm unhappy or anything like that, but progression is very important to me. So we'll see what happens. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next video.